Hey guys, Nolen and Jason here with HVAC Webmasters.
Howdy.
Today is going to be an interesting topic. So the title is Nolen, break me off some of that HVAC marketing magic. I just want to start with that one thing.
This is actually near and dear to my heart, this subject, because this is the trick is my least favorite SEO myth. The trick can be, there's like 100 different ones people will say, which should give you a hint that there's 100 different things people will say is the one thing. But I hate that when people come back with, oh, SEO is all about this, insert.
Well, in their defense,
BS.
let's tell where this thought process maybe came from.
Yeah.
I always remember the guy named Sergey or something. I can't remember the Google founders.
Sergey Brin.
Sergey and somebody else.
I don't remember
the other guy. But they were at Stanford or something, right?
Yeah.
Figuring out stuff. And the algorithm piece that they exploited, which I can't imagine how simplistic the code was that started Google, was if somebody was linking to someone and they had a link that was underlined, a contextual link that said Dallas air conditioning repair, and they had the most of those, then they were number one for that keyword.
Yeah, backlinks were the sole metric.
So there was a time for quite a while when backlinks were the sole metric or almost all of it, and it took Google probably millions of lines of code and billions of dollars to fix it.
Yeah.
If they hadn't fixed it,
literally took a decade.
Literally took 10 years, and if they had not fixed it, it would have, actually search was already degraded to the point that people didn't always go in there much.
Yeah.
So you'd go.
Yeah, all the old search engines, Alta Vista, Yahoo. Yeah.
Alta Vista.
They've gone so far, I forgot who they were.
Yeah, I can't remember all the names. But anyway, I'm trying to remember a few names. But
those are the only ones I can actually remember. And there were like a dozen.
There was more. Ask Jeeves.
I think Ask Jeeves is still around.
Are they?
Yeah,
but nobody uses
them.
Yeah. So anyway, so people would for a long time did that.
Yeah.
Google literally spent billions, I'm sure, hiring all these programmers, mountains and miles and millions of lines of code, millions and millions and millions of lines of code, I'm sure.
Yeah.
And then they fixed it all. And as time's gone on, it judges everything. But people will get in their head one thing. And linking I don't hear about as much anymore, but I still hear about it all the time.
Oh, yeah. There's still people who ask about it. I see professionals in the industry that'll still say backlinks will beat all that other stuff. And I'm like, bullshit.
Yeah. So backlinks, and it has to do with domain authority. People will talk about it. I'll list some of these things, and we'll talk about them all. Design, content, blogging, links, reviews, mapping. So, and I'm going to put on there like software. So when people get this stuff done, they want, and then I always hate the word just, because I explain the stuff.
Just is a 4-letter word.
I would explain like a ton of stuff we do to someone.
Yeah.
And I still do this. And someone will come back and say, so you just do web designs, or you just do SEO.
What was the person one day actually said to you, you just do Google?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it makes sense to them, but they've heard this stuff and then they try to compartmentalize it. And it goes without saying, obviously, it's not one thing.
Yeah.
In fact, one thing will be a waste of your money. So if somebody went and got a fabulous website and put it online and it never had any changes to it or did anything, and you did one thing like get reviews, it's just going to sit over there and sit on the side forever.
Yeah.
So Google's judging all these things, like everything's scored or judged or compared or looked at.
Compared, I think, is the best word to use there, because you're always compared to the other people in your market.
People feel judged, and they are, but it is more of a cataloging of data signaling and comparing it to other people.
Yeah.
It's really all they're doing.
Because we get people every once in a while who have been in a market and have been one of the only providers in their market with a website, and then all of a sudden someone comes along and makes a better web effort, and then all their stuff falls, and we get the call, and we're like, oh, get my ranking back or whatever. And it's like, well, let's take a look. And we look at their market, and all of a sudden there's multiple people in their market doing it. And it's like, okay, you had this spot because no one else was trying to get it. and now 5 guys are trying to get it. So you have to try harder than them.
Yeah, and I was just talking to a guy, and it made me think about him. But he had a drop, and he was hurting. We talked about this guy not too long ago. He's paying $4,400 a month. They wanted
him.
They wanted him. They were buying links, and they wanted him to spend $16,000 on.
Yeah, we did a whole podcast about that.
Or $12,000.
Yeah, $12,000 on that.
It was going to be $16,000 like change, but I don't know if I told you that he had 0 index pages. I don't know why.
No, you didn't.
I don't know why or what had happened to it, but sometimes there's major algorithmic changes, and the stuff on the site that they have that's old becomes spammy too.
Yeah.
So
something that used to work will cease working.
It'll just stop working. So someone that throws this website up and then just kind of neglects it, even if they have some reviews, it may not work at all. I'm talking to that. I quit talking to. It's weird to me. Like I don't get that. But somebody pays that much money and they just keep paying it. You know.
Yeah.
Like they just,
without results.
Without results. But I think people get scared and concerned, and when people hear things and they think that it's just one thing, they're buying into everything out there and trying to digest information. They just have kind of screwed it up a little bit.
Yeah.
And things have changed. They have changed from the days that you could just link. So,
well, I mean, they've changed multiple times. There have been 3 major algorithmic updates since August. We're sitting here in late October 2022.
Yeah.
And in 2.5 months, there's been 3 major updates.
Major things going on.
It used to be we got an algorithm update maybe once a year,
and
it was twice a year, and now we're getting them like 5 or 6 times.
So I one thing that happens when people call and ask for one thing or ask for stuff, there's a couple of things going on with them, but they're usually like 5 or 10 years late.
Yeah.
So they've heard that blogging's important. They're going to call up and I need blogs, or I want this. And when they come up and they start dictating terms and stuff that they've read or heard, we had somebody try to argue with me the other day because they'd read a Matt Cutts article from over 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And try to say how a site should be structured and how it could be done. But when people come up and they think the one thing, it's just grossly misunderstanding the way the algorithm has evolved. So now there's millions and millions of lines of code, if not, I don't know, more.
Might be
billions.
Now.
And now they can judge and compare or catalog and compare all your digital signaling. So it's your branded web presence being looked at and then compared to determine whether it should go up in ranking, which we didn't. Obviously, if you can get up in ranking on Google, then you get daily call volume is where your cheapest leads are.
Right.
So you need the design, yes, but you also need content, and it needs to change a little bit. You may not need a blog or a few blog entries, but you might not need a blog at all, right, because the content's usually trashy now, and Google's new content update can tell. Links, maybe a few, but not the only thing by any means.
Yeah, don't misinterpret us as saying links are bad or you shouldn't have any. I talked to a client the other day. They were asking, is there anything else I can do on my end? And I said, well, if you've done jobs for like local businesses that have websites and they'll link back to you, that's a local link. That's amazing. Get those.
Yeah.
Get them to link back to your website.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, okay. I've got a few commercial jobs I've done. I'm like, talk to them.
So reviews are big, but reviews aren't
obviously
the only thing. The Google review and the only thing that'll make your stuff pop up. In fact, you see a lot of guys with hundreds and hundreds, if not thousands, of reviews sometimes, and they won't be in the Pack 3 mapping. Or I've been seeing some Pack 2 mapping lately with a paid at the top. But it's changing all the time. But whatever map shows up on Google mobile device or desktop, you want to show up as high as possible. But a lot of times you'll see somebody with tons of reviews, they won't show up because they grade more than one thing.
Yeah, because they didn't do everything they should do.
And your map's set up properly. And I want to talk about content for a minute. Content written well, it's just the Achilles heel of the industry, really. It just keeps coming back. It never has gone away. Every attempt to do away with it has backfired with digital marketing agencies or owners thinking they don't need it.
Yeah. Every attempt to either do away with it or do some kind of weird end run around it, like AI generated stuff or whatever, or, dupe or whatever it is.
Sorry.
What?
Nothing.
Okay.
But a lot of guys too, one thing that people do that's you speak about misconceptions of what people say, well, I don't like content. I don't like it. I like a one-page site, and that's what I'm going to do. So people say, I'm going to do a one-page site. Well, Google doesn't
bullet
know.
list.
They don't know if you work on mini splits or indoor air quality or furnaces. They don't know anything. All they know is that you're an HVAC contractor. They might guess at heat and air and a couple of main words.
They might guess AC repair and installation.
They'll guess at about 5 or 10 keywords. You'll miss hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of keywords.
Possibly thousands.
Possibly thousands if you don't evidence what you do within the site, service pages, city pages, and then talk about brands and parts.
Right.
Which we do parts pages around here because I want people to get every single thing they can get. I called HVAC, by the way. I'm old enough to actually, this is the first time I've done this, by the way. I got an email from my HVAC provider, and I know it's off season. And so I called for a service, a $69 service checkup, and then we're going to have a couple other little things. So he upsold me on something. But I knew, no, if I call this guy, in a couple of months he's busy. If I call him in summer, he's busy. This is an educated guy, and the owner came out off season, and he came out the next day.
Yeah.
So, but you've got to have content up. If somebody looks up something like indoor air quality, they've got asthma problems, they've got this, whatever it is, they want air intake systems. That's becoming huge, by the way. The homes are all closed off so much that they're not getting oxygen into the house, or they're getting bleed off from maybe SPF foam or other crud in the house. They don't have any flow through, so they're doing air intake now, and bringing air in. So there's benefits to living in a house, assuming it doesn't have other problems, that's like built in the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s. And once they go in these new airtight homes, you ever open a door? I was talking to an HVAC guy the other day about that. You ever open the door and you couldn't open it?
Yeah, you get that suction.
It was vacuum, so it's so airtight, it's literally a vacuum suction. That type of house or business is not healthy for the airflow in it. But that's another keyword and stuff that you want to talk about. It's a trend now, and in some counties and cities, they're requiring it on builds, air intake systems, and bringing in fresh air. Because they say this is making people sick. This guy had all kinds of stuff on it, so that he knows it's making people, hurting people by not having air intake systems, by having structures that are too, airtight. Yeah. So
my house was built in 1942. I don't have that problem.
Probably not. Probably pretty drafty.
It is.
Yeah, but draftiness that's a side benefit, by the way. So next time you're a little chilly, remember that you're getting some fresh air.
I light a fire.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Nolen Walker here for Data Pens. You may not know, but I own a software company, and we have a proprietary software called Data Pens, DATAPINS. You can search it at datapens.com. This is not white labeled. I actually own this piece of software, and I made it for you. It was made for contractors. You can actually take pictures of jobs, up to 6, make a caption about the material, the brand, the situation, the repairs, and post that back to your individual pages on your website, just like that. It's super simple. Anyone could use it. It also texts and emails your clients, direct links to your reviews, so it helps reputation and reviews, which helps conversion and map placement. The geo coordinate gets grabbed by Data Pens, and Google can tell where you are. So instead of them just seeing reviews, they see all jobs or even estimates that you do. This vastly outperforms just getting reviews. Helps the map show up, helps organic keywords. And remember, those captions that you're putting in there help expand the keywords per page, and it's great regular content. I love it. We made it just for you. It is organic optimization on steroids for both your website, your rankings, and the map placement. Check out Data Pens. I think you'll be happy you did. But anyway, so having pages of content about all this stuff, they wouldn't know that they deal with that.
Yeah.
They wouldn't know any of these things. So they've got to have content. It's got to be represented well. You can have city pages if you need them. If you're in a smaller market area, you might get that as well. All of this stuff expands the amount of times a map can show up, the amount of times keywords can show up, and then it's got to be worked on. A good analogy is putting a racehorse on a track. You can't just shoot the jockey manager and have the horse sit there. It's a fine horse, but it's not going anywhere. Yeah. So you put up a website. It's like, because somebody the other day did call. That's what they want. How much for that website? It's like, well, we actually build some of the best websites there are, but we don't sell them off piecemeal like that. We build them so that people can optimize in there. And I said, by the way, it won't really help you because you'll have a great website, but it doesn't move and nothing's done, and it's not the only thing that'll make stuff show up in ranking.
Right.
You can't just throw that up there. And by the way, it'll cost you too much. We provide that as part of our monthly services. We eat the cost of the website so people can have that because it is so vital. But if you're not going to pay us to do the work, and I tell people this all the time, just go get the cheapest websites you can. And do not, that's what, when they say break me off that one thing, and I want to be real clear, we are the least expensive, best marketing company for HVAC that I know.
Right.
There
Absolutely.
are people that are nowhere near our quality that charge double to triple on term agreements with money down.
Yeah.
So it costs something to have it done.
Like 2-year contract.
Yeah, with like $20,000 down for a website.
Yeah.
We'll start somebody, eat the cost of the website, and start a month to month on our fee, which I'm not going to say because it changes a little bit. There's been a lot of inflation lately, so I don't like to put the prices up, but we're a great deal on it. When someone says break me off that one thing, they're wanting to do it for a third as much.
Yeah.
Now here's the problem.
They've got a crap website and they want to pay us like a third or a quarter.
Yeah.
Or a tenth in one case of what we charge.
Yeah.
To do, because they think there's one little thing they can do that'll bring it all together.
They hope.
Yeah.
They hope so. So they're hoping that that's the case, but that's not the case. Here's the problem that ends up happening. They take it and they go, well, I'm going to get this. Man, I sure did like the sound of HVAC Webmasters, Nolen over there, and Jason. I'd love to have them working for me. They work with some guys. I know they do a great job. But I'm going to go over here and get this guy for $299.
Yeah.
Now, they'll put up a site that's may or may not look good, and it'll perform horribly, and they won't actually do anything for the $299. In fact, the guy that was the one that had 0 index pages, he was paying $297 to a company you've heard of before.
Okay.
And it's a company that has independent people working kind of as a sub.
I know who you're talking about. Yeah.
So they're pretty well known, and they're charging us several $100. And I said, you realize that, and his website's just up there as a shell, never gets worked on. I said, you realize that's an independent operator, code word salesperson. I said, they can't do anything. All they do is try to salvage the $300.
Yeah.
So it's not enough money to actually pay for professional services. You're paying for a salesperson that acts as an independent contractor and gets a cut to try to save their money from you each month.
Yeah.
That's all.
The company itself, which we won't bother naming, but all they provide is back-end infrastructure and website building tools for these independent operators,
Right.
who then call the potential clients and say, I'm so-and-so with, and they say they're with this company, but they're not an employee of that company. Again,
No.
They're an independent contractor who uses their infrastructure.
It's a glorified hosting service,
Yeah.
and the $300 is now flushed down the toilet.
Yeah.
And the guy said, well, I can get rid of that. I said, you can absolutely get rid of that. And he said, put it towards what you charge. I said, yes, but if we had to define that better, you're actually throwing away the $300. They're robbing you of it. You have nothing. So if somebody doesn't want services from us right now, they don't break off one thing. What they do is go get a website that doesn't cost them anything per month, $5, $10, $100 or less.
Right.
And then it's just hosted because that's all they're going to get. And then they attach it to their Google business profile and try to get some reviews. Is it enough to get someone in ranking? Probably not, but it starts trust and tenure, and they might get a lead every once in a while.
Yeah.
So trust and tenure started because I was talking to a guy the other day, and in his defense, and I don't dog this. Everybody starts somewhere. So I always try to give good advice. If you want just one thing because you just can't afford to market, which I argue is bullshit.
You can't afford not to market.
Can't afford not to market, and people usually pay for some marketing.
Yeah.
So, but if they're not right at that point in time, they're getting going, they can get a Google Business Profile, which is your map. You can look up Google my Google Business Profile.
Yeah.
They changed it.
I do it. It's been like this for a year, and I still
Google My
screw
Business. We changed to Google Business Profile, and I'm almost got rid of the Google My Business out of my mind. But anyway, Google My Business setup. It'll pop up. You can start up your own map. You attach the cheapest website you can find, which isn't a good practice in the scope of things, but it's better to start the relationship with Google. they begin to track the tenure and time and trust, get a few reviews from clients and start getting that, so that when you do get more things done by a full-fledged marketing campaign like HVAC Webmasters, then it can go up a little faster because they've already got that. That stupid song I was talking about, the AC/DC, Whole Lot of Rosie or something.
Yeah.
She ain't got much, but what she got a lot. People don't realize that they got a lot. So if they come and they have a messed up website, someone spammed them or they haven't done anything, it's either apathy or anger or whatever it is that Google's put upon their site. If they've been up in ranking and gotten reviews and there's a live.com on hopefully a URL that you own with GoDaddy or something, then that's a lot. That's not bad. You got more than you think you do. So you can start and get something going. And then the other part of this, if someone doesn't get out of the muck, doesn't get out of the mud, and their brain just doesn't get out, like there's a party going on for people at the top of search rankings on Google.
Yeah.
And you can make excuses for why you haven't been invited or why you're not there, but you at some point in time, you should try to get to
you
the
need
party.
to pull yourself out of the muck and clean yourself off, and then maybe you'll get the
Get
invite.
there.
Yeah.
So people will make excuses as to why, they're up there because they're big, not big because they're up there. Like your competitors are all up there for some other reason. No, they just kind of fought to get up there.
Yeah.
And at some point in time, people will pay at least as much in marketing fees per month to stay in business as we charge, and usually much, much more.
Yeah.
But they'll never spend the proper attention. Many HVAC owners will never spend proper attention to get their website up and ranking.
Right.
And they'll go spend 3, 4, 5, 10 times as much to pay for a click, and will never put their own
Pay
website.
for a click or pay for a lead.
Yeah. And never get their own website and ranking.
Yeah.
And their own website and ranking is hundreds of % better performing from a return on investment of marketing dollars than paying for clicks and leads.
Yeah.
Or impressions on social media or whatever. So once all this is put together, and then, the reason we don't piecemeal a website, because I used to have a harder time articulating it, but I've done it for 13 years. I've explained it to tons of people. When you have a group of people that are all highly trained professional people, we can't knock off a website like we're living in Lucknow or Mumbai, India. It's expensive. Yeah. They're so expensive that people don't want to pay for it.
Yeah.
And when I talk about people that charge triple what we charge, there's someone that I'm thinking of that that charges more than triple what we charge.
Yeah.
And they want $18,000 down for the website. And it's actually, if the website's done well, a fair price.
Yeah.
Because we spend a ton of money in monthly overhead for new client production. And it's very expensive. I've used an analogy which you debunked somehow. I forgot what you did, but you don't take your Ford Escort to the Ferrari dealership to get work done. Do you remember?
I don't remember now.
Yeah, but
it was probably very clever.
We're the Ferrari dealership,
Yeah.
We don't just knock off some little template website. That's what people get when they just want one thing.
Yeah.
You can go to Fiverr and get some trash put up. You can go to Upwork and get trash content put up. You can go piece all this crud together. Oh, that's the other thing. Slap on, software isn't bad, but software used within digital marketing industry is usually bad.
Yeah. A great software tool even cannot fix an effort that is bad in every other respect.
Because they're grading everything.
Yeah.
And so people will get a template website, trash that up, slop up content or not content or copied content or shallow content, never work on it, and then slap on a marketing software tool.
Yeah.
And that tool...
Funneling or something. Yeah.
Funneling or analytics or email drips and all this crud. And that crud can't make your cruddy website work or trick Google into thinking you're wonderful. Hey there, guys. Nolan Walker here for HVAC Webmasters. Glad you're listening to the podcast, but I'd like you to become a client. We're a digital marketing agency that have done this for 12 years. I don't think there's anybody better than us at this point in time. We will help you with your design, your code, your content, showing up as high as we can on Google ranking, your organic ranking, your map ranking, your reputation, your reviews. Our digital marketing agency will help you be the best possible online We can help you with all of it, even paid. We even have a software company called DataPens that's proprietary. We made it for you guys. You can take 90 seconds and do a pin on each job. We call them data pins, and it'll grab the geo coordinate where you're located. It looks like a little red pin drop, but to Google it looks like a digital hand raise. This helps them see where you're working. So if someone doesn't give you a review, they've got this with photos of the job that count as unique content and a caption. Let's say it's Linux air handler replacement with Linux M30 Wi-Fi thermostat. This is additional content that's literally going to drop on the individual service and city pages on the website and expand your keyword search ability. It's crazy how cool DataPens is, combined with the SEO and digital marketing agency services of HVAC Webmasters.com. Guys, check us out. We'd love to hear from you. That's another thing too. People will say, like, if you want more evidence as to why this is also important, people will come up to the HVAC company owner calling for marketing services, say, oh, we can do your SEO. So we can do your SEO. It's going to cost $1,000 a month. They go, can you use my website? Of course. We're in. They go, and the owner will be like, I thought you were going to have to put up a new one.
They'll simultaneously tell them that make sure you get that website so we can work on it, but also tell them that that website is trash and isn't done right.
Right. Your website's trash and done right, but we can fix it. And more what, if you want to, in my words, what they're saying is like, we can trick Google into thinking your crap-ass website is now wonderful.
Yeah.
And the best analogy I can use for someone to understand me is in that category. It's like somebody calls you out and say, well, by God, I've got this 25-year-old AC unit outside, and I need the blower housing. I want all this stuff to work. Just make it work like new. And they're like, okay, well, here's your bid. We're gonna replace it. Replace? And you're like, yeah, we're not replacing anything, but you by God make it work. So if you knew anything about websites and code base and all the content, the way the thing's structured, you can't just, it's very difficult to go in and take someone's horrific website and code base and then make it work well.
Yeah.
We make new websites.
It can't really be repaired.
Yeah, it's the same difference. You've got to replace the AC unit. We use the same URL, the same brand, the same name, hopefully the same address if you got a good one, and phone number. Like the guts of the company, that's your brand, is used, but it's a new design and code base and content. And we wouldn't do it if we didn't have to, because it's very costly for us to do it.
Yeah, believe me, if we could use your crap website and make it work,
yeah,
we would love to do that, but it never works.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it doesn't work that way.
We've tried it. We at one point we tried. We've kind of gone back and dipped our toe in that more than one time. Said, you know what? Yeah, we'll give it a shot. Never works.
I'm going to tell this story and we'll begin to wrap up this concept. But we have software called DataPens that's very, very.
Do we? We never talked.
Very helpful. Yeah. DataPens helps you write captions like, just replaced a Linux air handler with Linux M30 Wi-Fi thermostat. Now Google knows you work on all these things.
Right.
That one caption might get you a dozen keywords to show up. That tags to your AC replacement page, and now Google knows that you worked on it and it added valuable content. And that thing installed properly helps out immensely. I was going to make a comment about it. What was the point about DataPens?
I don't know. You didn't make it yet.
When people,
was it software add-ons?
Yeah, when add-ons are done and they're not, well, I'm sorry, it was add-ons. So recently with this concept, we let people, since we own DataPens, use DataPens only. And I will tell somebody on the phone, and it's kind of, since we own the software, it's hard not to want to sell it to somebody.
Yeah.
But DataPens by itself doesn't fix a crappy web effort.
Yeah, this is the thing we made that we think is amazing and does work, but
if it's integrated,
is not enough in and of itself.
Correct. Because they judge everything, and this is a great topic for it, because they judge and score and relate everything, if you just get one thing put in or two, and they're checking like dozens, which we will go over and do for a client, one thing won't make it work. So they'll take DataPens because they love the sound of it so much, and it is fantastic. And then they'll stick it on their site, which has no content, poorly written content, not structured well, not set up for the local city. Their website itself sucks. The code base is horrible. There's no schema in it. poor site structure, all this stuff wrong with it.
Yeah.
And then they take the one thing and add it to the bad website, and they get reviews. And those two things with their bad website without the other effort is not enough to move them. When we use data pins with our sites, it's invaluable.
Yeah.
It makes
it's insane.
It goes insane. They get hundreds, if not thousands, of extra words. When we add it to someone's crappy web effort, they typically cancel because it can't fix.
They usually last about 6 months.
Cannot fix their crappy web effort by itself.
And our guys will call them and say, okay, and they'll help them do the install and do the setup, and they'll be like, okay, well, you don't have pages for this, this, and this. You really kind of need those,
right?
So we recommend you do this, and they won't do it.
Not once have they ever done it.
Yeah,
not one time. And they'll say, hey, Nolen, break me off that thing. And I'm at the point now, it's like, nope, we do it this way because we know it'll work. Because if we let you do the thing that you want to do, it won't work for you. You'll waste your time and money, waste our time and money because of the way we structure our setup with a new client. We start them. Probably this won't change. We get a very small fee, card on file, and then our monthly fee.
Right.
And then we're month to month. If the client doesn't experience success with 6 months or left, they leave. And if they add just the one thing, break me off that one piece of magic, there is no magic.
I'm going to reuse your Ford Ferrari analogy.
What's that?
We're the Ferrari dealership. You cannot come to our dealership and buy just the turbocharger for a Ferrari and slap it on your Escort and get Ferrari performance.
Right. Like ordering a salad at a steak restaurant. Anyway, so yeah, I mean, you need all this stuff. Let me leave people with this, and again, I've broken record on this stuff. Your brand is digital to Google.
Right.
If they don't see it and they can't see the stuff, it won't receive a good grade. It won't be compared well to others, and you won't be allowed to play in the Google game, which is where all the leads come from for most people. It's where the best leads come from, and it is vital that you understand this and have great design that's worked on and tweaked regularly. All sorts of things to do with the design, like code and content and structuring and updates and to your WordPress. And lots of little things, lots of content for your different categories, your different services and brands. And then you need also other sorts of signaling, branded search, working on your Google business profile. Reviews help, not just Google reviews, but lots of them, of course. And other mapping related items. Other signaling, like some links and some domain authority is nice. And tools that are integrated properly can be invaluable, like data pins, because they add so much quality digital signaling, like digital hand raises. We were here with geo-coordinates. Unique content from a technical perspective from the client side.
Right.
And actual posting back up to the Google account and texting the client for more reviews. So there are tools that will be invaluable, but if you wonder why tools haven't worked for you, or if you wonder why stuff doesn't work, there's no conspiracy theory on this one. There might be on something else, but there's not on this one. I don't know what happened in Area 51 or if it was conspiracy theory to throw us off of something bigger. But in this particular thing, there's no conspiracy theory.
Yeah, it's pretty much on the up and up. Google is pretty clear about the kind of thing they want.
Yeah, they're not favoring people who are paying money. I think they'd get sued by the federal government if they did that.
They've actually been caught doing that way in the past, and they had to clean up their act.
Yeah, so they're not favoring anybody else. They're not. All they're doing is judging your digital signaling, and then you're showing up or you're not. And you can show up by getting help from people, and you would want to show up. If you've never participated in what we call the big show, you want to play in the big show because that's where the best leads at the least price comes in, and that's where you have the best return on investment, meaning the net profit and availability.
Yeah, you will not believe the difference in that versus buying clicks, buying leads. Yeah.
It'll help you through the times. In the category of HVAC marketing, this is the best place for you to be. And the reason I like it better for HVAC, it's so vital, is because even though you'll have to pay us a fee during spring and fall, It is going to even out your troughs and your whatever, your peaks and valleys. Peaks and valleys. So your off season's better, your on season is better, and it is the best place to put the money.
Right.
So it's going to even stuff out, make life better, make it easier to try to earn a profit. And you've got to try to fight and get up there if you want to experience what those people experience. Anybody who gets up in ranking does better.
Yeah.
All right, guys, like and subscribe. If you've got questions, call us. We'll answer them, and we'd love to have you as a client. We're not high pressure. We always tell people we'd love to answer questions. People call all the time from these now, by the way, after listening, and we really are happy to go over stuff. If you think you have a weird situation,
we've probably heard it before.
Yeah, we're experts at this point. So if it's weird, I know it immediately. People will tell me, hey, Nolen, go check out my situation. It's like, I own the thing. It's been 13 years. We don't have to leave this conversation for me to know right now. I can tell you now.
I know exactly what happened.
I know exactly what's going on.
Yeah. It's very rare that we don't.
Yeah. All right, guys. Give us a call. We'll see you.
Take it easy.